Everybody is talking about Claude, but there's so many different versions of this technology that it's hard to keep track of what is what. Is it Claude Code, Claude Cowork, Claude the app? Claudes are everywhere, and I wanted to walk you through everything you need to know as somebody who has onboarded over 200 people into this ecosystem. So the first thing I want to show you guys is Claude Chat. So this is the Mac app, and it has chat, Cowork, and code. They're all baked into one specific place. Now, code, we're going to get to a little bit later, but first I'm going to just start with the chat. And it's just like your regular large language model, very similar to ChatGPT or Google Gemini or anything else that you might be using. There's a couple things I want to point out. The first thing is this language or model selector. It's not a language selector, it's model. And you'll notice that you have a couple of different options. So Opus is the highest model. It's the smartest model. But when you use a smarter model, what's going to happen is that it's going to spend a ton of tokens. And you can think of tokens the same as you think of gasoline inside of a car, right? If you have a really fast V12 engine Ferrari, it's going to use your gasoline faster. Now, Opus is that Ferrari right now for Claude. Now it's March 17th, 2026. When you watch this, it might be different. The name might be different, the version might be different, but generally speaking, the highest model, the one that is at the top, is going to spend the most amount of tokens, basically the most amount of gasoline, to get the job done. So if you're doing something that's super important or like updating huge files, you can use Opus, but for most stuff, I recommend using Sonnet. And this is going to be a pattern that is going to follow us across every part of any app that is using AI agents. You're going to have to select a model, right? You can go to more models, again, Opus 4.5. They don't understand naming conventions. No AI company has figured it out, so it's a little bit confusing. But for what I normally recommend doing is choose the second model and focus there. So what can we actually do with chat? Well, it operates a lot like ChatGPT, if you've ever used it. But there's one thing that makes Claude super powerful, and that is called connectors. So if you go ahead and click this little plus button and then go to connectors, you'll notice that I have certain things that are actually plugged into my Claude ecosystem. I have my Google Drive, I have my Canva for design, I have my Fireflies and my Fireflies for meetings, Notion database, right? And with this, what I can do is I can actually use these things in order to string them together. So if I did something like, for example, say, go ahead and use my Notion database to find the best ideas from the workshop the other day, and then turn them into Canva designs for ads on Instagram. So that's going to go ahead and pop that in. And what it's going to do, it's going to call the connectors. So you notice I'm calling out the name of the specific connector. In this case, it's Notion. And then I'm going to use Canva for design. And you'll notice right here that it's actually using the Notion skill to understand the workflow. So it's going to Notion. It's searching my entire database, all my pages. It is finding that specific page with that information, and then what it's going to do, it's going to plug into Canva and put that together into a design. Now, in the past, I would have to go open up Notion. I would then have to go search for the file, go pick it out, and then go to Canva, open it up in the browser, open up a new project, go open up and find the Instagram ad template, and then go design my thing, and it takes so much time. With connectors baked into Claude Chat, you can do everything from one interface. And the real context shift is the fact we are doing this all from one individual place. So we no longer have to go over to Notion and go use these individual apps. Everything is being orchestrated by the AI. And you'll also notice during this process, it's asking me it's actually showing me what it brought up, right? And now it's opening up Canva. Look, I'm still talking to you, right? The AI agents are going in and just taking care of it for me. It's absolutely incredible. So while this generates our ads, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how to connect your own connectors. So if you open up, and by the way, I'm on a Mac, it might look a little bit different on the PC, but if you go ahead and open up this little sidebar here, it's a little call out window. You can actually open it up click into settings, and there you go, you have my ads. And then go in here down to connectors, right? It's this little button. So you go bottom left, click it, settings, connectors. And then what you can do is you can select the connectors that you want to connect. So like I said, Google Drive, GitHub for Code, all types of things. But the more important thing is the Browse Connectors button. And here you can go in and you can connect anything that the third party has available. Now, let me be clear. Most of these connectors, not all of them, but most of them are created by third-party companies. So all of them operate a little bit differently. So Gmail is going to be different than Notion, which is going to be different than Slack, and everyone is unique. So what I want you to do is just go into your connectors, go and scroll through the list, and really pick out ones that you feel might be appropriate for you. A couple ones that are my favorite. I definitely like the Apple Notes one. If you read and write Apple Notes, if you are on a Mac. Another one I really like is Chrome Control. So this allows Claude to actually control your browser to do things on your behalf. And if you are somebody who does a lot of design, Canva, must have as well. And another one that I personally like, I'm not saying you have to use this, is Notion for your database. It's an incredible tool. I've been on it since the very beginning, and it's very well connected into the Claude ecosystem. And what I want you to do is after you have your connectors connected, pause the video here if you haven't done it yet, and go ahead and connect them. By the way, while you are doing your connectors, things are going to mess up. It's going to fail. You might have to try it 2 or 3 times to get it right. But what I want you to do is pause the video, connect your connectors, just 1 or 2 of them, and then head over to chat. And then from that place, you're actually going to be able to string those connectors together, just like I did, right? So I had my connectors run, and then it created the ads from my ideas inside of Instagram, and then boom, I have the designs. And by the way, most of these connectors are actually connected to the web, so if I open up the link, I can then head into Canva, for example, and start editing my ad. It's awesome. And so that's the first thing I want to show you, is just connectors and chat are absolutely incredible. But there is another tool that recently launched. This probably came out maybe 6-7 weeks ago. It is called Cowork. So Claude Cowork is a tool that honestly, they're just kind of figuring it out. And so what you can do is that you can actually do something which is create tasks. And these are tasks that you can actually put on repeat. Okay, so I think this is the most useful part of Cowork, which are these scheduled tasks. So for example, I have one for me that just pulls the latest AI news. So what it does is that it actually goes to the internet. It will go find 3 different tasks or 3 different bits of AI news, and then it sends it to me, and then I can just open them up and look at it. Another one I have is a video backup. And so I make a lot of videos, but I hate uploading them. So I wrote these specific instructions inside of Cowork scheduled tasks that allow me to just press this run now button. It's going to take all the videos that I record and then just upload them to my Google Drive. I know it doesn't seem like much, but the fact that I can run this whenever, it just saves me a couple clicks. And that's what Cowork's scheduled tasks do very, very well. Saves you a bunch of clicks. Now, I can go very deep into Cowork and all the different stuff that it does, but based on what I'm going to show you next, this is what I normally use it for. Just scheduled tasks. They're improving it every week. And by the way, just so you know, you can have more than one Claude plan. You can switch between them. I'm not going to switch right now. But the next thing I wanted to show you is Dispatch. So Dispatch is basically Claude's answer to ClaudeBot agents. So it's an always-on, always-awake agent that you can message from your phone, and it will start to actually run anything you want on your computer. Now, there are 2 very important buttons here. So you have the keep awake button, and so this basically keeps your computer awake when you're away from it. And then the next question that people are asked, like, hey, should I run on my MacBook? Should I get a Mac Mini, a separate computer? Well, if you're going to be really getting the use out of Dispatch, you're probably going to want another computer that is running because you want something that's always on. Right? I have a MacBook, and once you close the lid or turn off the computer or it runs out of battery, you no longer have access to Dispatch. Okay? So what do I want you to do is go to Cowork, and then I want you to click on Dispatch, open it up, And then what you're going to see is a couple of buttons. Make sure Keep Awake is on. And then what I also want you to do is say, allow all browser actions. Now, what does that actually mean? So the first thing is this makes sure the computer never falls asleep, which means from your phone, you can actually go into your computer from your device and start getting Claude to do whatever you want inside of your physical computer. So if I was down at the beach and I shoot it a message like, hey man, can you update the website? It will literally go into the computer and start doing that for me. All right. Now, for some of you, because this happened to me, allow all browser actions, you might not be able to click it. So what you need to do is you want to go to settings. You're going to want to go back to connectors and just make sure that your control Chrome connector is plugged in, okay? And this is the third version of Claude. What you want to do is you're going to want to download the Claude Chrome extension. And so you can, by the way, you can find these pretty easily. Just search like Claude AI Chrome extension. They have a whole bunch of other tools that you can plug in. And all you're going to do is you're going to go to their website, click into the extension, and then you're going to add it to Chrome. And then once you do, I want you to log in. And this is also super important. Make sure to always log in using the same email that you are using across all of your devices. Now, some of you, like me, might have a personal Claude account, and then you might have a separate one for your business. Mine is lightschool.com. And so I have a different one for Teams, but what I want you to do is just start with one Claude account, go log into your browser, and then what this enables Cowork and Claude to do is they can actually use the browser. So what I can do is from here, say, open the browser and go to lightschool.com and, I don't know, test the login, right? And so because this is actively integrated into my computer and because I have the Chrome extension installed on my computer, it can go ahead and take actions on my behalf. And it's pretty damn cool. It can go and it can control things, and you'll know it's working because you're going to see these little things. You see these at the top, these Claude things? That's how you know that Claude is inside of my browser using it. Here it used, and there you go. So you can see it just said testlightschool.com. So if I go into it, I can actually see that it went to the website. I'm not doing anything. You'll see the orange glow around the outside of Chrome, and it can start doing things on our behalf, which is pretty amazing. So it just logged into our portal where we have our courses, we have our Discord community, we have our calendar integration, and it's beginning to test it for me. Now, I am not doing anything. This is Claude controlling my browser, controlling my computer, taking actions on my behalf. And by the way, just so you know, it actually also works inside the mobile app. As long as you have Claude open on your computer is plugged in, it's going to work inside of your mobile device. So all you need to do is open up the app. You got to download it from the App Store. And then open up Dispatch inside of the app. You can scroll out, you can open up the side panel. You're going to see it right there. It's Dispatch. And then you just tap on that, and then you can control your computer from your device, right? So if you need to go have the agent go to the internet, maybe you need to have it go send an email. Maybe you need it to, I don't know, research the top 100 archaeology sites in Wisconsin. It will do that on your computer. And because it's plugged in, you have your own server running at home that you can use any time that you want. So far we've covered the Claude desktop app. We have Chat. We also have Cowork. Specifically, the things I like, Scheduled and Dispatch. I think these things are both amazing. Obviously, there's a lot more depth here. I'm not going to go into it, but those are the things that I use every day. But the third one I want to show you is called Claude Code, okay? And now, obviously, inside of the desktop app, you have this third tab called Code. I'm going to actually recommend you do not use that specific part of Claude Code. The much better way to do that is to actually use it inside of your terminal. Now, for all of you who don't know how to set that up, if you don't know how to set it up in terminal, I have really in-depth tutorials. So if you go to lightschool.com/campus, scroll down, go to Claude Code Setup. If you're on a Mac, click on Mac. I have step-by-step setup instructions as well as a script to get you started. And if you have a PC, you can go the same way. Go to the Windows PC setup guide, and you're going to have everything that you need to set up your computers for Claude Code in the terminal. Now, you might ask me, hey, Nick, what is a terminal? So basically, a terminal is how a computer functions. So anytime you are clicking in an app, you're clicking on a website, you are doing anything in front of your computer, you are actually using the terminal. So let's suppose that we are opening an app, right? So if you want to do open an app, you can just do open, we'll just do applications / Chrome. Okay, so you can see that it opened something up. It opened up a folder. So really, whenever you are clicking on anything in your computer, you are running a command inside of your terminal. It's giving the computers commands. Now, this is the way that computers used to work back in the 1980s, right? You would have a terminal and you would give it instructions to execute on your behalf in the computer. Now we have apps, we have user interface, we have UI, we have UX, we have people who make this pretty and they make it easy for us to use the terminal, but every single thing you do on your computer is inside the terminal. So what you want to do is after you go through the very easy setup process that I put onto lightschool.com, again, we have setup instructions for both Mac and PC, as well as many other tutorials for the things I'm going to be explaining to you in these video series. What I want you to do is once you have this open, okay, I'm just going to start into fresh session. All you have to do is type in Claude, okay? So Claude, it's going to ask you if I can have access to this folder. Claude is very consent driven. It's going to ask you a lot of times if you can use your computer in certain ways. So I'm going to say, yes, I trust this folder. And then you're going to see this pop up. So this dude in the top left-hand corner means you have successfully installed Claude Code. Congratulations. You're in the best place. And this is where we have access to the bleeding edge technology. So every time that Claude and the team at Anthropic comes out with a new feature, they always put it into Claude Code first. The reason being is that it's so easy for them to update the terminal. It takes a lot of work for them to go into Claude Desktop, do the UI UX, do the user testing, make sure that your mom can use it, as well as your grandma. But all of the new features that come out, and by the way, these things are coming out like every single day, they always end up in Claude Code first. And the difference with Claude Code specifically is that whatever commands you run inside of it, it's going to create custom software that actually lives on your computer. So I'm going to take you through the exact setup process that I use to get started and teach newbies inside of my workshops. So what I want you to do is once you open up Claude, I want you to type in /model space sonnet. Okay, now what am I doing here? You can see, remember inside of the actual desktop app, when I went to chat and I told you to set your model down to sonnet, you have to do the same thing inside of Claude Code. The settings that you have inside of the desktop app are not going to carry over to the terminal. So what I normally recommend doing is starting with /model sonnet. And you can actually see, hey, it set our model to sonnet. Pretty neat. Now, if I want to change it back, all I have to do is /model opus, right? You can see it set the model back to opus. And you'll know that by this little bit right here. Okay, you can see it's set back to opus, but for the sake of this, I'm just going to do /model sonnet. So what can we actually do with this? Well, it can create custom software on behalf. So I'm just going to go ahead and run a command. I'm going to say, make a very simple Minesweeper game in the style of astrology, make it fast, and make it one page. And so what it will do is it's going to, I just ran that command. You can type it in. You don't need to say it. It's what's going to do, it's going to start thinking, figuring out the context of what it is that I want to create, and then it's going to write custom code for me that actually runs on my computer. It's pretty cool. So while that's running, I'm going to go ahead and open up another terminal tab. You can actually do that by pressing Command-T, okay? So I'm going to open one up, and I'm going to put in Claude, right? So Claude is now going to, and now I have a second instance. So this is a separate window over here. This is not the same session as the first one. Each Claude that you run has its own session, okay? So I have another session of Claude running, and I want to show you guys another feature while our Minesweeper game is getting made, and that is /plan. So plan is where you should normally start when working with the AI. It is the absolute best starting point for so many different reasons, because when you want to get the most out of artificial intelligence, you have to be very specific. It's almost like a very super intelligent intern. Right? Imagine you had an intern who's 16 years old, tons of energy, and they have a 300 level IQ. Okay? You want to make sure they're doing the right things. And so getting the most out of Claude and making sure we are spending our tokens appropriately usually starts inside of plan mode. So if I just say to Claude, hey, I want to make a multiplayer Minesweeper game, and I want it to be fun for me and my friends and make it easy for people to do together, I can put that in. And the difference is when you are running commands with plan mode enabled, and you'll know that's enabled because it says plan mode on, right? It's instead of it just going ahead and writing the code, it's actually going to start planning on our behalf. And the other thing you're going to notice is that it's actually asking us for permission. So if you go down here, it's like, do you want to proceed? And what I normally recommend doing, because these are all really technical terms, I have a background as a software engineer, I know what they mean. You might not know, and that's totally okay. I usually say yes and don't ask for more permissions. So while that's running, you can actually see, I'm going to switch over to my other session of Claude. You can actually see that it wrote the code. And so now you can see it called it Minesweeper Astrology, and it's also asking me to now open it on my device. And by the way, just so you guys know, I'm tapping up and down on my arrow keys to navigate Claude. It's not through a point and click interface. You go up and down and you'll see this tiny little arrow down here move. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say yes, don't ask again, and boom, we have Astrology Minesweeper. Pretty fun, pretty cool, okay? So what is actually happening here? So Claude opened the file in Finder. So what it's actually doing is that it's writing code that lives on our computer. So you can see it says Minesweeper Astrology HTML, right? And so I can just open it up, and that's what Claude does differently. You'll notice that with like Cowork and Chat, it's not creating code on your computer, but with Claude Code in the terminal, and also this one too, but I recommend just using the terminal, period, for so many different reasons. It's creating code that actually exists on our computer, which means we can use it again. So if I came back to Claude and I said, hey, I want to work on that Minesweeper game, can we add another feature? Can I, maybe we can add like bombs that you can put, whatever. You can actually continue iterating the software that is custom built for you for whatever it is you want to create. You no longer have to rely on expensive software developers, UI, UX people, all these different resources to create whatever it is you want to make. And the things that this can create can be incredibly complex. I have made things that automated workflows. I've created all of lightschool.com using this tool, which enables me to blast out as many emails, create any funnels, make anything that I want to throughout my entire company in a matter of seconds. This stuff is magic. So you'll notice that in my second session, this is also super important. It's still running. And you'll notice it's not like ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT, send a message, get a response. It acts like Google. Claude Code is different. It's going to take a lot of time to think, as much time as it needs, in fact, to think and to accomplish the task. There are stories of Claude Code running now for up to 10 hours to accomplish whatever it is that you give it. So if you are creating a plan, I don't know, to build a crypto city in the middle of Argentina, and you want to have like an architecture plan, and you want to have an online platform and a crypto coin, it will literally do that all the way through to completion, and it is going to take as much time as it wants to. So what I normally like to do is start in plan mode, have patience, very important. And what I want you to do is actually, while it is running, close your eyes and meditate. Think about the next required action that you have to take in order to get this done. And you'll also now notice that Claude Code in plan mode has now come back to me with specific questions, right? And you can see them right here. Game mode, the scope, the hosting. So it's asking me if I want it to be competitive, cooperative, or there's a third option, right? Which is type something. So if it didn't give me the feedback that I wanted, I can actually type in a new possibilities. So I'm just going to go ahead and click enter on competitive. And the other cool thing is that even if it doesn't show me what I want, or let's suppose I'm confused and it's like, hey, like, do you want to use Python or JavaScript? And I'm like, I don't know what that means. I know what it means, but you might not know what it means. You can actually go down to chat about this and it'll open up, back up into conversation mode, and you can just continue the conversation, ask it specific questions. So what I want you to do is get really specific about what you want to make, and Claude Code can do it brilliantly. The next thing, once I click that, okay, I can go right on my arrows, right? I'm going left and right on my arrow keys, right? And I can actually choose the scope. So do I want it to be an MVP, which is just like the minimum-ist version of this? Do I want it to be fully featured? So I'll just do MVP, and then it can also choose hosting. Right? Am I going to do it on a free cloud? I mean, that makes sense. It's going to be something that my friends have used, right? And then I can click submit. And what you'll notice is that, first of all, it's going to take that information. It's going to go back into the process of planning. It might have additional questions for me, but more likely, it's actually going to start creating that code base. Okay? And so what you can do is you can have as many projects as you want, and they could be anything that you want to create. And with Claude Code, you are a senior software engineer. You can build anything that you want under the sun. And so what I normally recommend doing is, it doesn't really matter what you are doing. Starting in Claude Code is normally the mood. It's not to say you can't like plan something really brilliant inside of chat, or you can't use Cowork to automate some stuff. But if you want to get serious about AI, and be on the bleeding edge, being in the terminal is a must-have skill. You have to get comfortable with this interface. And there are ways to make it prettier. I'm not going to show you them today, but what I normally do is anytime I'm starting a new project, I immediately go to my computer. I'm going to, and by the way, if you want to exit it, you just do /exit. It closes it down. Now I'm back in terminal. So what I'll do is I'll open up a computer. I type in Claude. I say, yes, I trust this folder. And what I normally do is I'll set the model to Sonnet, and then I'm going to start planning, right? I put it into plan mode, start planning out what it is I want to create that day, and let Claude Code work with me. By the way, if it has any questions, it's going to ask him. And if it needs access to anything, it's actually going to then tell you what it needs to do, okay? And so here you go. So this is my other session. And in it, it actually gave me a whole plan to implement my multiplayer Minesweeper game. So it has a point system. It has all the different, the game engine. It knows, like, do you want to create a lobby? Really good questions, right? So before I say go, I normally am going to sit down and read the plan. But I'm making you the quickest overview that is the most in-depth as humanly possible. And so I'm just going to go ahead, and you'll notice it's asking me, do I want to auto-accept and just do the plan? Do I want to approve the edits one by one? Or maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm like, hey, I need it to be in the style of a jungle, and then I can put it in there, right? So depending on what you want to do, you want to choose the right option or give it feedback on what it is creating. But if you want it to run, you click auto-accept all edits. And now what it's going to do is it's going to run and execute that plan until it is complete. This is magic. The time it would have taken me as a software engineer to build out this thing in a multiplayer way, to even plan it out, to have the context to know how to do a multiplayer game would have been immense. And you'll notice that as you're seeing it run, you know it's running because it has this little symbol going. And you can also see the number of tokens it's using, which is just, remember, the gasoline for the AI. And it also broke it down into different phases that's now going to go through. And like I said before, what it's doing is that it's going to be creating the code on my computer. So this is where it's creating, you can see it, package.json. You see it create an apps directory. And if you kind of look at this, you can watch it create the software in real time. And it's absolutely amazing. So it really doesn't matter what you are working on. Using Claude Code is definitely the move in 2026. And the other cool thing is, if you have Claude Code running inside of your terminal and you go to Cowork and then into Dispatch and have your computer on, you can actually run Claude Code from your phone on your computer. So Dispatch is plugged in to your open Claude coding session, and it can continue to give you updates on the build. So if I go in here, I'm like, and I say, how is the Minesweeper multiplayer game going? It will actually, you can say in Claude Code. More specific, the better, generally. Dispatch is plugged into the entire ecosystem. It's going to look inside of your folders. It's going to look at what agents it has running, and it can coordinate on your behalf. So you can think of like Dispatch as your AI agent, almost like your project manager. I didn't find it. By the way, this is normal. So it's normal for Claude Code to not see things, but just know sometimes the AI will gaslight you. Remember, it's like a smart intern. Interns screw up sometimes. So what I would normally do here is I would just like nudge it and be like, hey, you know, maybe it's in the folder called this thing, right? I might say to it, yeah, you're running it right now. It's brand new. You got to treat it like an intern and just like give it the feedback, and it's going to eventually be able to figure it out. So this is sort of the setup I normally recommend. Start with chat, go into your connectors. Then what I would do is immediately go into Cowork, set up a scheduled session, you know, things that you can schedule to run automatically. And then make sure to set up Dispatch and leave your computer on, because you can talk to it from a device. And if you're really ready to get serious about AI and you're ready to start building your own software, future-proof yourself and prepare for it, Claude Code is where you want to live. So that is the breakdown. If you are interested in going deep on this stuff, I actually give live tutorials with basically everything I went through, as well as so much more. We do them every single Wednesday online. And you can go to lightschool.com to the AI workshop. It's only $27. It's a 2-hour workshop, and I'm going to walk you through everything I just did live, as well as answer any questions that you might have and hold your hand through the whole process. And by the end of the session, as long as you have a MacBook, as long as you show up live and you feel ready to embrace this, I promise you, you will have Claude Code set up on your computer, and you will have made something absolutely incredible. This technology is accessible to you, and I am so excited to show you so much more. We have an online program at lightschool.com that you can go to. If you want to go deep after the workshop, we have a builders program. We have a whole course that I have built out by hand, basically walking you through your entire Claude Code journey. We have so many lessons for free inside of the campus. But if you're really ready to go deep, we have the online workshop, we have Discord, where we actually have all the different creators in here sharing tips, like building on their journeys, and we do live classes twice a week. So if you want AI coaching and business coaching, or just life advice and how to integrate all this crazy stuff that's happening, please feel free to check out lightschool.com. And if not, just please keep building. We have so many free resources on the website. These all have in-depth tutorials on a lot of the things that I just went through. It's easy to copy paste, and I just want to be helpful and be in service to the people who really want to upgrade and stay ahead of this technology. So please join Light School, and even if you don't, continue your journey. Keep on upgrading. Keep on embracing this agentic future, because it is about to be the wildest time our species has ever stepped into, and agents are what's going to make it so damn interesting. Send you lots of love. Thank you so much.